3 days after she disappeared, investigators made a discovery that would change everything. A mysterious Bluetooth signal connected to her phone at exactly 3:34 a.m. After days of dead ends, this digital whisper was finally traced. And it didn't lead to a random car or a passing jogger's headphones. It led to something far more sinister. The signal matched a device registered to someone who lived less than 2 miles from her house. Someone investigators had already spoken to. Someone who swore they had never left home that night. But the digital evidence was about to expose that lie. When investigators first decoded the Bluetooth signal, their expectations were low. They thought it would lead to a common electronic device, a car's infotainment system, a wireless headset, maybe even a commercial security scanner from a nearby business. But the database returned something chilling. The signal signature belonged to a portable Bluetooth receiver, a device capable of not just connecting to, but actively scanning for and tracking nearby smartphones. Detectives immediately dove into purchase records, searching for any device with a specific electronic signature. After hours of painstaking work, they found a match. The device had been purchased online just 3 weeks before the disappearance. The shipping address was only 2 miles away from the victim's home. That single piece of information forced investigators to revisit someone they had already questioned. A man who lived in the same neighborhood, whose alibi seemed plausible at the time. During the first round of interviews, he told detectives he had been home all night. He claimed he never left his house, not even for a minute. But the digital trail was beginning to tell a very different story. Armed with this new lead, investigators obtained a warrant to examine all nearby security cameras. Street cameras, doorbell cameras, traffic cameras. They started building a digital timeline of the neighborhood on the night she vanished. At 3:12 a.m., a dark sedan was seen quietly leaving the neighborhood. 7 minutes later, another camera captured the same car turning toward a desolate road. A road that led directly to the abandoned construction site where her phone had sent its final, desperate signal. But the most disturbing discovery came from a private security camera, one that belonged to a house overlooking the construction site. The grainy footage showed something investigators had not expected to see. At 3:26 a.m., a lone figure was standing near the edge of the property, waiting. They stood completely still for nearly 2 full minutes, a silhouette against the dark landscape. Then, a second figure entered the frame. Investigators believe this second person may have been the victim drawn to that location. The camera angle was too distant to clearly identify either individual, but the timing matched perfectly with the phone's last known movements. And then, something happened that investigators still cannot fully explain. At precisely 3:34 a.m., her phone connected to the unknown Bluetooth device. 9 seconds later, the signal died. At that exact same moment, the figure who had been waiting moved quickly toward the second person. Then, both figures vanished from the camera's view, swallowed by the darkness. Detectives reviewed the footage again and again, poring over it frame by frame, trying to understand what happened in those final, terrifying moments. But there was one more clue, and it came from the vehicle they had seen earlier, the dark sedan. Traffic cameras captured that same vehicle again at 3:45 a.m., just minutes after the phone signal disappeared. This time, the car was leaving the area, driving fast. It was heading back toward the very same neighborhood where the Bluetooth device had been registered. Investigators now had 3 powerful pieces of evidence all pointing in the same direction. The mysterious Bluetooth signal from a tracking device, the suspicious vehicle caught on camera, and a person of interest who had lied about leaving their home that night. But detectives knew digital evidence alone was not enough to secure a conviction. They needed physical proof, something that could definitively place their suspect at the scene of the crime. So they returned to the sprawling, dusty construction site, and they began searching the area again, this time with ground scanning equipment. Within hours, Their equipment alerted them to something buried just beneath a patch of loose gravel. It was a small electronic device. Damaged, partially crushed, but still recognizable. It was the same type of portable Bluetooth receiver they had been tracking all along. This meant the person behind her disappearance may have accidentally dropped it during the struggle, or perhaps tried to destroy it in a panic. But the most important question still lingered. If the suspect dropped the tracking device, why was the victim's phone never recovered? Because without that phone, the final minutes of that night remained a mystery, locked away inside a device that someone had deliberately taken with them. Investigators were now certain this was no random act. Someone had been watching her, tracking her movements, waiting for the perfect moment to strike when she left her home that night. And if the evidence was correct, that person lived closer than anyone could have ever imagined. This is episode 8 of the final 24 hours, and investigators may finally be closing in on the person who is waiting in the dark. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more.